What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Curry, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. All right, guys, today we have a really cool video and a cool concept to talk about. Some things are changing in the sneaker game, and I want to make sure that you guys are clued in either on the resale side of the house, if that's your thing, or on the consumer side of the house. Because like I said, things are really changing in the sneaker game. And we're gonna use the example of a very, very popular sneaker all of you guys have known to love that's getting ready to come out on the sneakers app for a second time pretty soon. We're gonna take a look at that sneaker in just a moment. So without further ado, let's get into it. You guys know exactly what this is the moment that you see the box. Now, I've been sitting on this shoe for a little while now because I really didn't know what I was going to talk about pertaining to this sneaker. You guys have seen it before, but you haven't seen my opinion. So just in case the other 1,000 different reviews of the Air Jordan Union 4 weren't enough, here's my take on it. First things first, packaging, top 3 packaging all 2020 thus far. Now I know we're getting into the fourth quarter, so I'm not going to go ahead and say for the year yet, but I will say that it's going to take a lot to top how thoughtful this packaging was. I love this yellowed age look of the top of the box here. I love Michael Jordan's hands, kind of this photograph that they used of him shooting. They used kind of the same photographs, I believe possibly from the same game, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they used the same set of photographs for all of the packaging and the paper inside of the sneaker. I love this blue bottom half of the box as well, very dope. But when you open up this top, that's where it starts to get really, really interesting. I'm sorry, I just really haven't seen good paper like that in quite some time. This photograph of Michael Jordan signing autographs after his game is such a dope photo to use, and especially to screen print it on the tissue paper for the sneaker. It just sets the tone for this entire packaging. I don't know how you can throw this sneaker in a clear box and not really appreciate the packaging and the details of the thought that goes into the box and even the tissue paper on here. I don't know how you guys do it. It's the packaging for me all day, every day. I love these boxes. But anyway, let's get into the shoe. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Union LA Air Jordan 4 in Off Noir. It's a fun word to say, isn't it, noir? Now guys, listen, we're gonna talk about this sneaker first, and this was a very polarizing sneaker. You either hated it or you loved it after you told everybody that you hated it. But most people ended up loving this sneaker once they got it in hand for one reason or another. And here's the deal. I still don't love this sneaker. I honestly still think this sneaker's pretty ugly, but that's just me. The packaging is very thoughtful, but the shoe for me is meh at best. A great concept, but the execution of it kind of missed the mark for me, but that's just a personal preference. But good materials and good quality. Let's dive into the shoe. All right, guys. Now, Chris Gibbs actually laid out what his inspiration behind his second iteration of an Air Jordan collaboration was. And I love the storytelling behind the sneaker. And that's a big reason why I still wanted to go ahead and pick up a pair, even if they were not my favorite shoe aesthetically. First things first, let's talk about this black suede all over this sneaker here. As you guys know, there's a guava ice colorway that has the same materials, just in a much lighter, almost pinkish looking hue. Personally, I prefer this black one, this Off Noir, so this was the one that I went for first, and luckily I was able to get my hands on a pair. Chris mentioned the inspiration behind this sneaker was that he knew that he wanted to mix mesh and suede for this sneaker, unlike the Union Air Jordan 1, where he mixed different leathers and sewed them together. Chris Gibbs mentioned on his second collaboration with Jordan, his focus this time was using really premium suede materials and really nice mesh materials, and it came together, I think, very well. He mentioned that Birkenstocks were the inspiration behind this really thick suede material here. As you guys know, Birkenstocks last forever and a day. They were the popular go-to shoe, and they're still the popular go-to shoe for a lot of people that want that easy laceless situation on their feet. And you can see that here in this shoe here. The material's very well done. It's worth the price increase on the sneaker. The sneaker cost me almost $300 retail price, but honestly, for the material quality, it was worth it. Now, up around the collar of the sneaker here, you have this blue, old school 1980s looking mesh material. He said he wanted to get that vintage look. Again, we have the vintage look on this sneaker, just like we did with the Air Jordan 1. The wings here with the eyelets on here, to me, this looks like sliced Parmesan cheese, and it's all transparent and see-through. This wasn't for me. I don't like this part of the shoe, but I understand it. I do like the red eyelet up here, but I'm just not a fan of the Parmesan cheese looking wings on the lateral and medial side of the shoe. That part just wasn't for me. Now you have white mesh netting here. Underneath that, you have the regular black material, really, really nice. The hardware on the eyelets this time down at the bottom of the sneaker here. Normally they're covered up. This time they're completely exposed and they're white, offsetting the red at the top of the shoe. One little thing that kind of irked me on this, I don't know if they had to put it here, but I don't know why they would put the Union LA tag right here where it's partially hidden behind the little Parmesan cheese wing here, as opposed to just moving the tag just like a half an inch over to the right so that you could actually see the full tag. I'm not sure why they only exposed part of that tag, but it is what it is. Taking a top down look at the sneaker here, this is where it starts to get interesting. Now you have standard black laces on this, but as you may or may not know, Chris Gibbs also mentioned that they added an extra panel into the sneaker to give the sneaker a fuller and better top-down look of the vamp, which is the toe box of the shoe here with the mesh. So it makes the vamp of the shoe look a little fuller, a little bigger, and honestly, when I took it out, I forgot that I got in a size 9 because the sneaker just felt a little bigger for some reason, and then I realized that it's because they added that extra panel in there. By the way, stitching on the shoe, very, very, very good. This is way, way better than usual general release, let's rush them through the factory type of Jordans that we see here. They really took their time to make sure that the stitching against this really thick suede material was done very, very well. Moving up, we have one of the more interesting portions of the shoe here, the sewn down, folded down tongue on the front of the shoe. The owner of Union, of course, said that he liked to wear his Air Jordan 4s like this back in the day. He would fold it down as it was actually intended to be. A lot of people used to do it back in the day, and then they would lace it down so that the tongue didn't move so you could see that Air Jordan tongue tag. Of course, that's why the tag is upside down or appears upside down on a regular pair of 4s. The tongue is actually really good quality as well. It feels like leather, really soft leather, and it's mixed in with this exposed foam as well. When you take the stitches out, you bring the tongue back up, it actually looks like a pretty decent tongue, and it makes the shoe look a little bit better. Now, I'm not gonna personally go as far as to say that it would make me want the shoe more, just changing the tongue from being like this to being like that, but for some people, it was just that small difference that made all the difference to them, and it made them go from hating the shoe to loving the shoe. To each his own. Now moving down to the midsole and the outsole of the sneaker here, you get that really nice yellowed, aged look here as well. They went with that theme yet again on this sneaker, just like they went with the aged vintage look on their Air Jordan 1 collab. Possibly my favorite part of this sneaker here is the OG Nike Air logo branding on the back of the sneaker. I love any Air Jordan 4 that has that OG Nike Air on the back. It just does something for me. Speaking of that yellowed aged look, you also get a set of yellow laces here, possibly to make the shoe look like the laces are also aged again. I'm not quite sure, but I did also notice that the airbag in the sneaker is pretty much the same color yellow as the extra laces on the sneaker as well. So it is going to kind of pop a little bit more with those airbags in the shoe. On the left shoe, you also get a really, really nice light blue Jumpman old school hang tag here with the Union co-branding underneath the Jumpman. I really like this. On the outsole of the shoe, you have elements of the black, blue, and red. That was the color theme for throughout the sneaker once again. If you notice, they use the same color theme on this sneaker as they did on the Air Jordan 1s. They just implemented it in a different way. And last but not least, you have a black insole with that red Jumpman Union co-branding on the heel. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Union Air Jordan 4 Off Noir. Again, it's a really, really hyped up sneaker. Obviously, it's a limited Union collaboration. A lot of people went crazy for them. The prices are still pretty high on the resale markets right now. I feel like they've cooled off a little bit, but still, this shoe is gonna cost you somewhere around $800 to get your hands on it. So it's not an easy sneaker to buy. Again, I love the packaging on the sneaker. The sneaker itself feels like it was Chris Gibbs' second favorite Air Jordan. It really does. The Union Jordan 1 to me is still just such a phenomenal sneaker that told such a phenomenal story. And the Jordan 4, it's not as good. I mean, let's just call it what it is. The Jordan 4 Union is just not as good of a shoe as the Union Jordan 1. If you were offered the Union 1 or the Union 4, you're gonna take that Air Jordan 1 all day long. But it's a second favorite of Chris Gibbs, and I think he executed the sneaker in a way where it's gonna be a second favorite of all of ours as well. Now, the rollout for this shoe was very, very dope. They had a really nice merch collection. I'm still trying to get my hands on some of that merch. I took an L on all of the merch. I just wanted the autographs t-shirt. I love the cartoon that they they did themed after Hustle and Motivate. It was actually a really cool story about an ex-felon trying to get a job, but he got the Union Air Jordan 4s, so he's bombing his job interview, but then the guy that's interviewing him, son, calls him, needs the exact same sneaker that the guy has in the same size, so maybe they can work a little bit of a trade out. So it speaks to resale culture, and it actually speaks to opportunities and a little bit of racism in there and stuff. It's actually really, really good. So I'm not mad at the rollout, definitely not mad at the packaging, a little bit mad at the shoe, but it is what it is. However, a lot of people were trying to get as much money as they possibly can get out of this shoe and out of any shoe that they're reselling these days. And there's a growing trend that I've been noticing that's really coming up lately that I did and kind of didn't want to let you guys in on. But because I know that some of you guys that watch these videos are in the resale game, you want to make your coins. Hey, listen, it's capitalism at its finest. I'm here to help give you a little bit of game, so listen up. I think that the Union Jordan 4 is a perfect example of a sneaker that you can use as really, really good currency to do raffles. Raffling is a big thing that I've been kind of seeing on the come up, but I'll be honest with you guys, I've been very leery of raffles that people are holding for hyped up sneakers like this for quite some time, because what I noticed was that a lot of people that were holding raffles, especially back in the day, were scamming people out of their money. They would take payment that was only through means that you couldn't get your money back if you got scammed. People would get sent fake sneakers. It was a mess. But lately, I've been seeing that there's been a lot more legit raffles that have been coming out, and honestly, it's been a fantastic means to make even more money than honestly the market value for your sneaker. Here's how it works. Say for instance, the market value on this sneaker is $800, right? Well, you can either take the $800 on the market, get your money and go on about your business, or you can conduct a raffle for the sneaker and have people purchase raffle entries that may equal even more than the $800. Let me explain. Buyer psychology is always based on risk versus reward. What do I have to put in? And is there any way that I can get way more out of what I'm putting in potentially? Think of the lottery, for example. You pay $1 or $2 for a ticket, and all of a sudden you might have the ability to win $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. So of course you're gonna spend that $1 because the risk is very low and the potential reward is very high. Well, that same lottery mentality is now being infiltrated in the sneaker game when it comes to raffles. So you have a very low entry fee that normally is enough money that it'll cost you a lunch or something of that nature, money that you're not really concerned about losing, and you just do a whole bunch of slots for that same amount of money, and before you know it, you've made way more money than you could ever get for this sneaker on a StockX or Go. So again, I could do $800 and get my money for this sneaker, or I could do 100 slots at $10 a slot and make $1,000 off of this sneaker. It's the exact same sneaker, but now I've made an extra $200 because I've had so many people buy in at a very, very low price. The bigger your following, the more people that you can get out there to do your raffles, the more money that you make. I saw somewhere on Twitter lately, there was a Union Air Jordan 1 raffle that went out there, and the raffle ended up bringing in about $4,000 for that Union Air Jordan 1. Now that Union Jordan 1, I believe, is about $1,500 to $1,700 on the market right now. But when the raffle was all said and done, the money that was brought in was about $4,000. That right there is what I'm talking about. So if you're a reseller, I wanted you to watch this video to see maybe if there's a way that you can make even more money. If you're not really able to get the money that you hope to get out of your sneaker, that's certainly a route that you can take to get a little bit more money out of your sneaker. The game is the game. I'm just here to play it. However, I don't want you to watch this if you're a reseller because, again, there's a lot of really bad business going on out here in the game. Listen, guys, I'm not mad at you being a business owner. I'm not mad at you guys reselling sneakers. Resale is a part of the economy. It's a part of the culture. And honestly, you're saving Nike a ton of money because Nike doesn't have to spend as much money on their demand creation budgets, which allows Nike to kind of control their prices a little bit better. And honestly, the hype that you guys as resellers are putting out there into the atmosphere for sneakers, companies really appreciate that. They may say that they don't like resellers, and I use that term loosely, but at the end of the day, they understand that resellers are the reason why a lot of hype is being driven. So I feel like there's room for everybody in this space, but at the same time, I just don't want it to get perverted into a place that people are being deceptive when it comes to their business practices. So if you decide to do a raffle on a shoe like the Air Jordan Union 4, make sure that it's a legit raffle. Make sure that you're doing good business out here, and just make sure that you're doing right by people. That's how you have a good reputation out here for whatever part of sneakers you want to be involved with. All right, guys, that's pretty much all that I have about these today. Now I want you guys to sound off down in the comments. Let me know what you guys first of all think about the Air Jordan 4 Union. Were these a must-have for you? Are you waiting for the restock of the black pair to come out on the sneakers app? What are you gonna do with these? You're gonna keep them? You're gonna sell them? You're gonna cut the tongue? You're gonna keep it down? What are you gonna do with these if you were to able to get your hands on them? I've also been thinking about a giveaway because we're coming up on 15,000 subscribers very soon, and maybe a Union 4 would be a nice giveaway. Sound off down below and let me know what ideas for sneakers you guys would like to see for a giveaway for 15,000 subscribers. We're coming up on that really soon. I'm excited and I appreciate you guys for rocking with me so much. On top of that, let me know what you guys think about raffles as a whole. Are you one of the lucky people that has won one of those cheap raffles to get a sneaker that's worth a ton of money? Sound up down below. Let me know. Of course, right down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Air Jordan 4 Union LA in Off Noir. And until next time, I'm out.